Hello and welcome everybody back to the Inside Our Galaxy podcast. I'm your host, Eric Hernandez, as always. Well, we got to talk about it. Do we want to talk about it? Probably not, but we got to talk about it. It's probably better if we do talk about it anyways. We got to talk about the 2-1 loss against the Houston Dynamo on decision day. I mean, what more is there really much to say than other than it was disappointing? But obviously we're going to talk more about it and give our thoughts and our opinions about the match, what this means going forward into the playoffs, because we don't clinch the first in the West. We now go in as the second seed, so we face the Colorado Rapids. Game 1 is on Saturday at Dignity Health Sports Park, so we're going to talk about that game, preview that game, of course, and obviously this should be an interesting conversation overall. Again, probably not in the best of moods in terms of what happened last night, but we're going to talk about it right now. But of course, with me as always is my co-host, LA Galaxy Central. How you doing, man?
Shit.
Yeah, I mean,
Seriously.
yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to it, right? I mean, it was disappointing. Man, I mean, really, it's like we got to talk about it, of course, because it is something that everybody's going to want to hear us talk about and the performance and everything like that. But I mean, to sum it up, like you said, it was shit, right? I mean, we had one job only, and we managed to just completely shit the bed in Houston. Now, obviously, people are going to say, well, Houston has not been, in our favor, I guess, on decision day, right? Like, it's never been easy to go over there and play, specifically on that day, for some reason. And again, it happened. We ended up losing 2-1, a last-minute goal from Daniel Steres. Ironically or poetically, I don't even know what to call it, but of course he ends up, putting the dagger on us, former LA Galaxy player, and of course, we dropped the ball on this one. So, 2-1. You got one goal by Gabriel Peck in this one off a penalty where we thought was going to be the clinch of the first in the West. That was not the case with Daniel Steres' last-minute goal, or last-second goal, really. And ultimately, we, again, like I said, we dropped the ball. But, yeah, man, obviously, what are your thoughts about it? How do you feel about it? I know you said it's shit. I mean, that's going to be a given. But, like, what were your thoughts about, I guess, the performance overall? And, man, just break it down for me.
I mean, I don't even know where to start, honestly. All I can really say is that, we are easily the worst decision day team in MLS history right now. I don't think it's debatable anymore. There's no team that is as bad as us on decision day. It's actually insane. Let's just go through a couple of years. In 2017, we lost 5-1 to Dallas. 2018, blew a 2-0 lead at home to Houston. 2019, lost 4-2, didn't get home field. 2020, lost 3-0. 2021, that one was crazy too. We were in the playoffs every single second of the season, besides the last 30 seconds on decision day when Salt Lake scored. 2023, we got fucking destroyed by Dallas. And this year, losing like that at the last kick of the game, they dropped down a spot. It's crazy, bro. We're fucking cursed. I literally think we are cursed on this day. And I don't know, man. I don't know if you believe in superstitions, but it feels like we are cursed on decision day. We just cannot perform on this day. Officially now, I'm completely out on the Galaxy on decision day. I had hope. I try to believe in this team. I try to be okay, new team, new players. No, bro. No, it's decision day, forget about it. If we ever have a chance to do anything on decision day, from now on, I'm just we're not going to do it. We're going to lose. That's how I'm just going to cope with this pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, it's just, it's pretty disappointing. And,
no team in MLS is like this at all either. No team is as bad as us on this day. No team has as many heartbreaking moments as us on this day. It's we are the worst of the worst, and by a wide fucking margin, too.
It seems like it, too. Obviously,
it is like that. It doesn't seem like that. It is like that.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, it is like that, and especially with what you listed with all the other decision days and everything like that, it's yeah, man, it was disappointing. And again, you mentioned 2021 where we were basically in a playoff spot almost the whole year, or not the whole year, but almost to the point until
it was the whole week 1 to 34.
Mm-hmm, the whole year. Until RSL scored that one. Obviously this was kind of the same way too. We were in first for who knows how long. It feels like almost the whole season.
No, it wasn't the whole season. We were in fifth, fourth, kind of went to second during the summer. So it kind of fluctuated a lot, but you were in it for the last couple weeks, in the fall for sure.
It did fluctuate a lot, definitely for sure. But I'm saying it felt like we had the first place for a while. And then again, once the final goal goes in by Daniel Steres, it's boom, you're already down there. And it's really disappointing. I mean, again, and I don't want to look at other things either. Obviously, everyone's talking about the refs, everyone's talking about
Oh,
LAFC, everybody's talking about other results. It's like, no, it was all on the players, it was all on the
yeah,
team.
child.
It was, you can't, there's just no other way to look at it. Like, it's like, you can't look at, other results. You can't look at past results. Like, obviously, I know you kind of talk about, like, oh, if we won the St. Louis game or the
Oh,
Miami game, but
I was gonna bring that up.
I know
You
you're
already
going to
know.
bring that up, but still though, it's like people look at that. It's like, no, it's like that. None of that mattered. You had Houston in front of you. You had one job. You had to win. Not even win the game. Tie the game. You had to tie the game. Defend those final minutes, and which, by the way, just poured. I mean, I don't know what they were doing. They just thought kicking the ball as far as they could was going to help them, but no, that wasn't the case. But they had one job. They had one opportunity. I don't want to say it was there for them for the taking, but it was just like, you know what you had to do. They didn't do it. Um, it took the whole game to figure out like when you were gonna, like, it took the whole game to really just get the result that you didn't want, or it was going to be the result that you did want, because we did score very late in the game. But it was disappointing. Like, I know everybody wants to take a lot of things and a lot of accountabilities, but I think there's the only group of people that need to take accountability is the team and the staff as well, to a certain extent. It's like those guys need to take the ones to accountability. It didn't matter about anybody else. It didn't matter about any other team. It was on us, and we failed. Like, that's the way I like to think about last night's result. I don't like to think about anybody else other than us, and we failed to do so.
I mean, yeah, but like, did the Galaxy really think that like San Jose was gonna go into LA and like lose by less than 2 goals, or just keep it close? Like realistically, like that should not have been on our minds at all. And with the way the players were playing on the field, it kind of looked like they already had it wrapped up. They had that mentality. Like there was a long point during the game, like we were fucking losing, and our players were just walking out there. And I got so pissed off about that. I'm like, guys, we're losing the fucking game. LAFC right now is winning by 1 goal. If they score another one, we're out. And there's San Jose is the worst defensive team in MLS history, so there's a very, very high likelihood of that happening. So it's like if we don't score here, we're out of here. And the players looked like they honestly did not give a fuck. They played like they had the first seeded clinch, and I'm like, no, no, guys, like you can't play like that right now. And it just took forever for us to wake up. I mean, all our players were shit, honestly, all across the line. Just all of them were completely shit, to be honest. And yeah, it pisses me off, honestly. It pisses me off. I think this is going to hurt the season. Obviously, it hurts as a fan, too. You lost that seed, to your rival club. I mean, it's one thing to lose it to somebody else, but to your rival club fucking sucks. Now it's like, if you get to the conference final, I mean, that's a big if, and it's not easy to do, but you're going to have to go away now, which it just sucks because this game needed to be at home. Like, we haven't won at BMO Stadium. We're 0-2 in the playoffs there. This game needed to be at Dignity. It's like, you guys just fucking sucked. Like, there's no energy at all throughout the game, and I don't know. This is as angry as I'm gonna be all season. I'm actually kind of going a little bit off on a little side note, but I'm mad, dude, because we had this shit. You know what you had to do. You knew San Jose was gonna lose that game. You know you had to get a result, and it's like, just again, like we were just so shit. It's just I don't know what to say. I'm probably gonna add more later, but frustrated, man, frustrated, honestly, as I should be, and everyone should be.
No, yeah, everybody should be, to the fan base, to the players, to everybody. And obviously, we'll talk probably more when it comes in terms of individual performances. But yeah, I mean, you talk about the San Jose game against LAFC. It's like I wasn't banking on that at all. Like, it was funny. It was funny because like I had some friends. It's like, oh well, if San Jose keep the lead against LAFC, it's like you're banking on that. You're banking on that to happen.
Looks like our
Like
players did that.
yeah, it seemed like
I got that.
everybody thought that at some point. It's like I don't want to bank that. Like, the only thing San Jose had fighting for that day was to not be technically the worst defense of all time, which they already are. But like once the goal got scored and LAFC tied the game, that they had nothing else to fight for. They had nothing else to play for. So San Jose wasn't going to win you that game. They were going to miraculously tie the game. It's
Or
just
lose by
like
one.
yeah, it's like they're a dumpster fire in itself, but it's like you weren't gonna bank on that. It's like it all was on us. We controlled our destiny. We had to go get the result that we needed, and the Galaxy failed. So, and you talk about the energy about the game. Yeah, there wasn't any energy from the team, and in fact, there was some. At least in the beginning of the game, Houston was trying to at least maybe try to set a tone at some points, but it's like, but even then, it's like the Galaxy didn't go in with the right mentality. And again, it's like I kind of look at more of the players in terms of this match and this performance. Like I know maybe, and I didn't see that many people like blame Greg Vanney or the coaching staff, but maybe they do have some fault. But like I look at it more at the players and what they did in the performance and what they put on the field, and there wasn't much you can ask for, and they played like shit. They thought I don't know if they did have it locked up or they thought about it like that, but
Looks like they did.
it looks like they did. But that's not how you're supposed to go. You're supposed to go, get the best result you can. And I understand it's Houston. In Houston, road games are difficult,
Fuck that, dude. Fuck that. You had a job to do.
No, exactly though. Exactly. It's like you had a job to do. You know what you needed to do, and they didn't do it. And it was funny because like I saw, I think Greg Vanney said it in the press conference. It's like, all right, you dropped a second. It's like that's not the bad thing. The bad thing is that if you end up making a mistake like you did last night, that's it for you. That's the season. Like in the playoffs, there is no, you get a second chance other than round one, obviously. But like after that, it's like you don't have another chance. It's like that. Like you can't look. It's like it's disappointing. You got to make it. You got to make something out of it. But in terms of last night, it's like I don't know. The team just did not have it in them, and it's disappointing. It's shameful to see. It's kind of pathetic. Not kind of, it is pathetic to see the fact that we dropped the ball like that. It really is.
Every fucking year too on decision day. Every single fucking year. Can these motherfuckers get it right one fucking time, please? Please just get it right. Like, seriously. I read you all the results. Like, I'm tired of this shit, dude. Like, fucking perform on the day. For once. For one fucking time. I know in 2022 they did it, but that was fucking irrelevant. We had our spot clinched. And we had our playoffs already in place. That didn't fucking matter, dude. It's like, this fucking matters. Why don't the Galaxy actually perform when it fucking matters, dude? It's like, fuck, man. Now you're going to have to go possibly play the conference final away in a building you haven't won because you just were shit, honestly. You were completely shit. And frustrating, man. Frustrating, honestly.
And even then, it's like you can't look at just like, the conference final. It's like it's one game at a time. And listen, Colorado, yeah, we may have beaten them this season and, they haven't won us. That's still a tough place to go play. Like, for the second game and things like that. It's like...
It'll be tough regardless, though.
Yeah. I mean...
Vancouver, Portland, that would be tough, too. So I don't think that matters too much.
But this is where I was going to go at, too. It's like, it's the playoffs. It's like, you can't... Anything could happen. Anybody can turn a switch on no matter what. And, it's just like, you can't... Again, this is where you can't bank on anything. Because, again, this is now the point where the regular season didn't matter anymore. You got to go win your games. You got to do what you need to do. So it's like... I mean, I don't know, man. It's like it's really a bad thing that this is how they went out because it's not a good thing that they lose before the playoffs. It's like this is not a good, tone setter going into the playoffs. And like even if you would have tied, it's like all right, then you squeaked out the point, you get first, whatever. It's like go home and then prepare for.
I'd be happy.
What's up?
I would have been happy with a point. I think
I would have been happy
about it.
Yeah, I mean. Oh, sorry, my bad. But like, yeah, I would have been bad, like mad about a point. It's like it's a road game, and that's all you needed. Like, I mean, obviously, I didn't want to, say that like, they just only need to get for tie. Like, no, go for the win. But like when we had the penalty and stuff like that, it's like okay, you go for the tie and just keep the tie. That's it. Final. Go home. We go into whoever we play, depending on the wild card game. But now that's not the case. Now we got to play Colorado, and. Again, Colorado is in 7th place, and now that's who knows what they'll do in the playoffs. We don't know. Whatever happened in the regular season is irrelevant at this point. We got to go into the playoffs and prepare how we need to prepare. But I mean, again, it's just like the whole point of just the way it ended, the way that's how your regular season ended. Is just like, and again, it's like people are probably going to say like, well, we're still in second, we're still in the playoff spots. Like, yeah, that's good, but you had an opportunity to do better than that. And we dropped the ball. And that's where the frustration comes in. I mean, obviously, I mean, I'm hopefully, the Galaxy, maybe not pass, but, like forget about this. I think they should know about this and remember this and feel this pain to know that, hey, whatever mistake we do next, it could be the end for us. But it's just like, this is not how you're supposed to end it. And it's really disappointing. And you mentioned the fact that we, a rival, takes first place, and it's just like it's tough. It's tough for the Galaxy. It's tough for the fans, and it might be tough if you make it all the way to the Western Conference Final. But Obviously we're gonna take it one game at a time, but still, it's very, very disappointing. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just there's one more you can really add to it other than it was shit.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm just like, well, guys, like I can't defend you guys on this one. Like you kind of deserve to get made fun of and battered around because you fucking bottled it. You had a 7 point lead after you beat LAFC 3-2. You were winning your games, and to just drop the ball like that at that part is like you fucked up. Like you really did fuck up, and that's really bad. And like I can't defend it at all. That's really fucking bad what we just did. That's pretty pathetic and embarrassing.
Yeah, and you know what, dude? Like I know I'm usually more of the positive and optimistic type of guy on this show, but it's like there's really nothing you could really be positive about. Like obviously there is some stuff, but it's like forget about that, man. It's like yeah, it's like forget about yeah, it's like fuck that, dude. It's like forget about it. Like I care about the result that we had for the game. It's like fuck that. Like it's just like it really is shameful, man. Like it's pathetic from the team. And again, I hope they learn their lesson because again, the next time they fuck up, that's going to be the end for them, and they know that too. But it's just again very disappointing overall for the team, and just yeah, man. Like you said, it feels like we're cursed on decision day, and specifically against Houston. But just in general for decision day, it feels like this is just not a good day for us at all.
And here's where I'll go. I'll beat the drum again, like you were talking about earlier. So listen, like we established, we're shit on decision day. We cannot fucking win on decision day. We're not going to win on this day. Fucking forget it. Okay, so what do we have to do? In March, you can't tie St. Louis 3-3. You gotta win that game. You can't lose to 15th place Chicago, who by the way finished last place in the East. You can't lose to that fucking team. And there's probably some other results too. I don't even know what else to put out there. You can't tie Minnesota 2-2 when you're playing super well and have all that momentum. You can't tie Nashville when they're playing their B team. It's like these are results you need to get. And if you know you're bad on decision day, well, you better not half-ass these games earlier in the regular season. And you drop points. You did drop points. You should have had more points. I get we had a good season. I still agree with that. But there was a lot more points to be taken, and we just didn't take them, honestly. And yeah, I mean, that's what I'm going to say. Going into next year, like we can't settle for ties because we know as fans and as players, if we're going to leave it to decision day, let's say to make the playoffs, clinch the West, even bigger, clinch the Supporters' Shield. Guess what? We're not going to fucking do it. So we need to get our shit done before, like we did with the playoffs this year. So that's all I would say is, like, yes, other results do matter. We fucked up that game. But if we know we're shit on that day every single year, it's like we need to play better, just quite simply.
I mean, I think through the long term, yes, I would agree with you. The only thing I would disagree with you is just more like for this game, it's like you don't have to think about St. Louis. You don't have to think about the Nashville game. It's like you have to think about the Houston. I know, but it's like, but you have to think about the Houston game. What's ahead of you? And listen, there's a reason why the Galaxy haven't lost back-to-back games at all this season because they put things into the past, whether it's a bad result or not, and they move forward. You had Houston in front of you forward. You had a job, and you didn't do it. Like, again, I understand in the long term, yes, those results are going to affect you, but the Galaxy had a chance to clinch it. It's not like this. They needed a miracle here we're talking about. They just needed to get a point. That's all they needed. So it's like that's the only thing where I kind of disagree with you in that, but it's just more like they all they needed was a point. And again, I'm not saying they should have just only have gone for the point. Obviously, there was going to be a point of the game where you did need to just rely on the point, but you had a job. Houston was in front of you. That was your task. That was your job. Forget about everything else that happened in the season. You had the task in front of you, and you failed. That's where I'm mad at. I'm not mad at the St. Louis or Nashville or the Chicago game. They happened. Whatever. You put that behind you. You had Houston in front of you, and you failed. That's where it disappoints me. I understand your point, and you've always beat that drum the whole season, but it's like still though, it like they had the task in front of them and they didn't do it. That's where I wanted to, that's my thoughts on that.
I mean, yeah, it is pretty funny though how many times I've mentioned those results before because they are like crucial results and results you should have gotten. But yeah, definitely mentioned them a lot. And yeah, for that game, like you definitely put it behind you. That was the task at hand. And it's like you were shit. Just quite honestly, you were shit, and it was very pathetic to watch.
Very, very, very pathetic to watch. And yeah, I mean, no energy, no tone set, and that was the reason why you lost. Like, I mean, it took you a penalty, which by the way, I don't know if it was necessarily a penalty. I think it was a little bit soft in my opinion, but you still got the penalty. There was still some contact in there, but it's like you still got the penalty and you took advantage of it. But still though, it took you that, and then you still blew it in within the last second of the game with that Daniel Sturridge header, which yeah, very disappointing. But still, though, very very disappointing performance. And I don't know if you have any other points or do you want to talk, kind of talk about the players now, talk about them individually.
We can go on to the players, but before we do that, make sure to read me the lineup because I'm a little bit confused on a certain change that was made. If you don't mind
Uh,
reading it to me.
Yeah, I think I can remember it by my mind. I remember the defense. Obviously, in defense you had John McCarthy, you had Mickey Yamane, you had Yoshida, you had Garces, and then the interesting one was that you had Audes starting, which was maybe not it wasn't a bad thing. I just thought it was a little bit surprising you started Aude, not John Nelson in that one. So that was the defense for last night. I mean, how do you feel about the defense? Obviously, we did get scored on twice. We got scored in the last second for that one, but how'd you feel about the defense? And what was your thoughts about them?
Could you read me the midfield and offense too, and the
Oh, you want to
subs?
go all
Yeah,
all
I want the
together?
whole thing.
Oh,
No, I just
all
want the whole
team.
thing for myself. Yeah.
Okay, then let me just pull that up real quick because I thought you were gonna go how we normally do it, but
No, I just
I
want the
got
whole team right now. We can still do that, but I want the whole team.
okay then. So obviously that was the defense. Midfield you had Royce, Cerrillo, and Puig, and then your front three was Painstill, Peck, and Jovic. So that was the whole lineup for the team. Again, I don't know if you want to just start with the defense first, but how'd you feel about the defense and their performance?
Honestly, fuck it. All these players are going together because they all are a bunch of fucking losers out there. Honestly, like I don't know, dude. I mean, starting out it was okay, I guess. Like that was fine. Yoshida, I mean, he looked tired, bro. He looked really tired. I was concerned with what I saw. He was really bad that game. Picked a really bad time to have his worst game of the season, losing two aerial duels that led to both goals. It's like for your best center back, most physical center back, that's very concerning. And boy, that was a bad performance from him going into the playoffs. You gotta hope that's a one and done thing, but he definitely was not very good. Garces and Yamane, I guess you guys were okay. You guys weren't too bad. McCarthy couldn't really do much. The midfield, Royce didn't look fit at all. He did not look fit. I was not happy with what I saw. He should not have been starting that game on the road. Like that didn't really make any sense to me. Yeah, I get it. Get him a rep before the playoffs, but still, he didn't look very good at all. And Ricky Pooch, I mean, are you going to connect the pass, dude? Like, you're a great player. I can acknowledge that. But all your passes, dude, they were going to the other team. It's good you drew the penalty. Would have been a huge moment. Would have had nicer things to say if we didn't lose. But that passing has to get better, dude. It has to get better. There's too many turnovers right now for my liking. So Royce and Pooch, I mean, you guys were shit, honestly. Peck, I mean, where were you? You've been the star for months, and it's like, it's good you scored the penalty again, and you had a moment, but, overall, just kind of ineffective, very ineffective. Jovic, the future of the LA Galaxy, it's like, where the fuck were you, dude? I didn't see you out there. It's like, you can't talk this much about, like, all this and that. You've had a good season, but when it came down to getting first, you weren't fucking there, dude. I mean, you had an open goal almost. You hit it right into the defender. It's like, that's not the future of the LA Galaxy. If you were the future, you would have scored that right there. And then Pencil, it's like, yeah, you had a nice moment too, but yet again, underwhelming. Highest paid player. What has he done for us? Not much. Really, occasional tap-ins, but I mean, at least Peck and Pooch, like they played shit that game, but they've been so good for us for so long. It's Pencil. It's like, where you at, dude? Highest paid player, still not showing up. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, you got to put it on all the players. It's like you guys weren't fucking good enough. Lack of fitness, inaccurate passing, not clinical, not creating chances, not working as a unit. Walking when we're losing. It's like, guys, like if you don't want it enough, that team LAFC, they want it more than you guys. Like they were gonna destroy San Jose, and that's why they're in first place right now. They were not walking around losing 1-0. When LAFC was losing 1-0, I didn't watch the game, but considering they came back 3-1, that probably means they put in the fucking work. When we were losing 1-0, it looked like we were going for a stroll in the park. You got a penalty, which I think it was a penalty. You said it was a little soft, but you got a fortunate penalty call at a certain point in the game, and I don't know. It took you so long to really start to give a shit until you finally found out that you needed to, and I don't know, guys. That was not acceptable. That's all I can really say. That was not acceptable at all. And if you play like that, it's going to be a short trip to the playoffs. You guys got to figure it out for sure. I got to put it on the whole players, fuck individual positions. All you guys were pretty sorry, in my opinion, or not even an opinion. It was a fact. I watched it, and everybody else saw it too.
Yeah, it was a fact. It was right there on TV in 4K. It was all there on the tape, right?
Seriously,
What's up?
I'm pretty pissed off today.
Yeah, I can tell, but no, you deserve to be pissed off. Listen. Everybody's pissed off. Again, I'm the more of the positive, optimistic guy. I'm not feeling any of that. I'm pretty pissed off about this too. It's like there's nothing to be positive about it. And listen, we did the whole lineup thing differently, which is fine, And you're right. Like it's not about individual performances now. It's about the whole team. Everybody just was not there, was not ready to play. It's ultimately just was bad. I mean, defensively. I mean, sure, maybe the first, the goals. I mean, obviously the second goal. It's like, how do you make that? How do you let that happen? But maybe the first goal was like, okay, whatever. They got in a good spot. It is what it is. But it's like
it was bad defending though from Yoshida. I mean, just not winning his aerial duel. It's like he has to win those.
Yeah, I mean, definitely for sure. So it's like, still though, it's like defensively, it's like you didn't really offer much. Midfield again, you mentioned Ricky Puig, the turnovers. It's just like that's just a bad thing. And Royce, like, I mean, man, like again. I mean, I don't know what to say about Royce. Like, I mean, still though, I understand he's coming off an injury. Like you said, it's good to get him the rep, but he definitely was not ready to play that game. Like this is where you kind of wish Mark Delgado was not suspended and have him in there. But that's unfortunate. That wasn't the case. But Royce, not a good game. Offensively, you mentioned Peck, just again, the guy who's been most effective for us, didn't do much. Joveljic was a ghost out there. Payne still, surprisingly, was probably the only guy where I said, okay, he's maybe good putting in some effort, but still though, we didn't get anything because the first goal ended up getting turned over. Even he had some moments where he was getting mad. He got a yellow card, which that should not happen. Again, the emotions you got to control, you got to control the emotions. But even then, Payne still, at least for the offense, was kind of the, I don't want to say bright spot, but at least trying to put some effort in there. And again, that goal could have been we talk about him being like a game changer when he's taking over games. That was a take over the game type of moment. Unfortunately, VAR overturned the goal because of the foul in midfield. And it's just like, again, it's like for Payne still, it's like, again, you didn't offer much. And again, this is where the moments where we talked about, it's like if Peck or Puig don't have a good game, this is where Payne still needs to shine. And again, you can say he did with the goal, but at the end of the day, it, didn't count. So, still though, it's like, yeah, I mean, the whole team. And again, I this is where I kind of say like the whole, I don't really blame too much on the coaching staff because it's not like Greg Vanney went with like a completely different lineup. It's not like he made these absurd changes or tactics or anything like that. So it's like, can you really put Greg Vanney in fault in this? I don't know. Maybe you can. Like, again, he's still the coach. He's still the guy who's trying to, call the game and things like that. But it's just like, it's the performance on the field and what the players showed on the field, and it wasn't there for them. And again, this is why we're talking about them as a whole. It's like, they were all bad. They all didn't have the energy. They all didn't have the right mindset, to finish that game. And again, when you go back to the Greg Vanney quote, it's just like, the next time you do something like this, that's the end of your season. So, hopefully this is a lesson to be learned from the players, but still not a good way to close out the season and going into the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more, really. Just like, man, just yet again, it's like, I don't even know, like, I told myself, like, after the game, it's like, Alex, like, why are you mad? This is not new. Like, this has been happening for so fucking long. Like, this shouldn't be, like, making me angry, but, like, it still does.
No, it's like, it still does because it keeps happening. It's like, you're going to, it's not the fact that, like, we should be,
it's like me failing a test over and over again. It's like, my mom's like, well, he always fucking fails, but I'm still pissed off he's still failing these tests. That's kind of how it is right now.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's like, exactly like that. It's like, sure, you keep failing the test, but it's like, but I'm still mad because you're failing the test. It's like, it's like, I shouldn't be happy. Like, so it's like, yes, it's like, it's kind of that, I guess, sort of analogy. It's like, still though, it's like, yeah, it's happened before, but it's like, but we shouldn't be accepting this. It's like, this is something that we got to change and, and turn the tide on for the team. And ultimately they didn't last night. And that's it's a shame. It really is a shame and pathetic the way they did it. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like, I was tweeting out yesterday. I was like, you know what? Houston is the worst city in America. It's just like, I was like, if any of these presidential candidates could ban the Houston Dynamo from playing the Galaxy on decision day, they'll get my vote. It's like, I was saying just a bunch of random stuff yesterday, but it's like, ultimately it was just like, it was all on the team. It was all on the players and the performance that they put on the field. And yeah, I mean, nothing more really. We're kind of repeating ourselves at this point, but it's like, that's really what it is. And they got to get it into their heads that they can't do this shit anymore.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, whew, this is almost like a therapy session, man. Like it really,
Yes, yes,
it really is a therapy session for Galaxy fans or for us
It
as
feels like
Galaxy
we've won
fans.
an Arsenal, honestly. It feels like Arsenal 2.0, like what they did with Man City when they were good. It's like, well, I mean, you had it, bro. Like you really did have it. It was in your hands. I mean, it's your fault.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like it was there. It was right there for the taking, and you just said
You're
nope.
close
Yeah, you're just like nope.
again.
I won't take it. It's
You were
fine.
close
I'm
again.
good with it.
Just like we were close in 2018, up 2-0 at home. We were close in 2021, 1 minute away from clinching the playoffs. We were a couple minutes away from clinching the one seed. It's like you're close, but you didn't get the fucking result, and ultimately that's your fault, and you have to sit with that.
Yeah, you got to sit with it, and especially right now, you got to sit with it. So it's very much unfortunate, but I mean, I don't know. It's like I just want to I want to say like, oh well, we got to move forward, but it's like it's very hard to say that now
That's
with
gonna be
this
tough,
result.
yeah.
It's very tough to say we got to move forward.
Concerned going into the playoffs. That's going to be a hard hurdle to come over. Like that is a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, that is. I mean, here's the thing though. Like some people, and maybe I could kind of agree with it. And it's like you've seen it before the season with the Galaxy having lost back to back games. It's like, well, it's like if they can use this to the right, in their favor in a sense, in the mentality wise, it's like maybe you can look at it as a blessing in disguise, but it's also like, well, we got to see it. It's like we got to see it though to believe it, and it's just like. It's like as of right now, it's very hard to look at that as being a blessing in disguise. It's like, we lost, we had it. It's like it was there for us. It's like who cares like about everything else. It's like the result that happened last night was just not it. So it's just like it's very hard to look at different other points of view. But at some point we're gonna have to I guess move forward with it. But it's just very difficult to do that right now this minute. Yeah,
The players have to do it quick. I mean, training's on Monday probably, so it's like, well, gotta get back to work.
Yeah, exactly. They got to, yeah, especially for the players. I mean, for fans, we're gonna wait till Saturday to see if they, make a turnaround. But for the players, it's like, all right, you gotta, we go back to work. We gotta forget about it. So, for them, they definitely got to forget about it to a certain degree. But it's just like, it's very difficult to think about that right now at this instant.
You know what made this result so much worse? It was the fact that it was for two scenarios. One, we gave up the spot to our rival club. Like, if we gave up the spot to somebody else, I would be upset, but I wouldn't be like, damn, dude, like, out of all the teams to give it up to. And, like, the part two of that is like, we talked about possibly going to the conference finals, which I'll always acknowledge that's very hard to do, and we have games to go, but, like, if it does line up, the game's going to have to be in BMO Stadium now, and it's like, I said this before, but we needed that possible game to at least be in Dignity Health Sports Park with the way we play them there because we have not won there before. I mean, we're 0-2 in the playoffs there. And obviously LAFC is super bad in our stadium, so it's like the fact that they have that home field advantage now to MLS Cup is a major, major advantage. It's like you gave that up to them. It's like to that team of all teams, you gave it up to the one team you probably didn't want to give it up to. Like, if we give it up to RSL, for example, it's like, if we have to travel to Salt Lake, it's like, okay, like, I guess, like, we could do that. We've won there before. And it's like, the fact that you gave it up to your rival club is like, fuck, man. Honestly. Yeah. And to see him celebrating on the field, too, like, I can't deny it. That was painful, bro. It's like, damn, they got to be so fucking happy. I would be fucking happy, too. If, like, if roles were reversed, like, I'd be like, holy shit, what a fucking miracle. How the fuck did this happen? But, like, disaster, dude. The decision day was a disaster. Again, it's always a disaster. It's like, it's just typical. It's typical.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. It's just, it's a disaster. And yeah, I mean, honestly, again, it's like, and for LAFC, it's like they have a very big advantage going into the playoffs, man. Like, obviously, yes, they still have to go and win games as well. It's like, obviously, they got to do that as well. But it's LAFC, like they've been here before, especially in recent times. So it's like they know the recipe to success at this point, right? It's like they've made it to back finals. Like they know how to get there. It's in their minds. So it's like it's like even if they, people are saying like, oh, it's like you're banking on them, like, or people were saying it's like, oh, they still have to win their games. It's like, yes, but they've been there before. The Galaxy haven't been there. The Galaxy haven't been there since 2014. Yes, we made it to the semifinal or the Western Conference semifinals 2 years ago, but beyond that point, like we haven't been there yet in a while. So it's like that's the big advantage that LAFC has, that they know what they're doing. They know how to get there. And them getting first place is definitely a big advantage for them. Like it really is, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Again, playoffs. Like we got to take it one game at a time, but I don't know, man. It's very difficult to look at that right now.
Maybe it's probably too much of a negative take, but it almost you kind of feel just the vibe, just vibe standpoint. It's like, that might be the season right there. That defining moment, that could be the season right there. Like that could be where it comes to an end. That moment, like that feels like a backbreaker almost. But we got to see what happens. I mean, look, we still got games to go, but that feels like it's gonna have a big influence. Like I would be surprised if it didn't. I hope it doesn't, but that seems like a tough block to overcome.
Yeah, I mean it does, and it could possibly be like the end. Like I'm not going to take that, I'm not going to say it's not, but yeah, I mean obviously again you just got to take it one game at a time. But it's just very hard to think about the next game right now, and this is the first time I felt this. Like we've been here before honestly, in losses where I've just said, hey, forget about the loss, just go into the next game and win it. And now it's like now it's different. It's just like, well, fuck. It's like we lost, and we're going into into scenarios where if you lose, you can't. That's it. And so it's like, that's where it makes it very much different. And it's just like, yeah, man, it's just very hard to look forward.
I mean, yeah, look at this too. Like we always talk about the Galaxy making the same mistakes over and over. Guess what? Set piece goal, conceding at a bad time. It's like, you don't want your repetitive bad habits to go into the playoffs. Well, all fucking season long. And still to now, our bad habits are going into the playoffs with us.
Yep. And it's, and that's unfortunate. I mean, every team has a weakness, and we're taking our weaknesses into, and those are big weaknesses, by the way. It's not like they're just little ones.
And consistent too. They don't just come up every once in a while. These come up a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's what makes it a weakness, because it does come out a lot, right? So it's like we're going in with these weaknesses, and teams know that those are our weaknesses, and they're gonna do anything they can to to exploit those. Yeah, man. It's tough. I know it's very like
it's tough to swallow,
but it feels good that we're getting our thoughts out, right? It's like at least it is a little bit of a therapeutic thing that we're doing right here, right?
I had to see it on the field though. I don't need to see it here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's true though, but yeah, man. Honestly, it's very disappointing. But yeah, man. I mean, do you have any other thoughts about the game? I mean, any other things you want to say before we move on?
I mean, lads, you bottled it. You absolutely bottled it. Honestly, it's like indefensible. Can't say much about it. We deserve the slander. We deserve to get made fun of for that. Can't excuse it. Can't really spin it in a positive way. It's like, you guys fucked up. You have to hang your head in shame. How are you going to respond? We'll find out.
Yeah, and that's what's going to matter, right? The response. So, and you're right. You know what? You're going to have to deal with this. We're all going to have to deal with this. And, again, I'm going to say it, even though it's very hard for me to, think about it, but I guess we just got to move forward, right? It's like that's literally the only thing we can do now is move forward, and yeah, that's just how it is going to be. But yeah, that was a Houston decision day. Very disappointing. Very bad for yeah, just bad. There's really nothing more we can say. I mean, we could go longer, but it's just very. It's like we're just going to keep repeating ourselves at this point.
I mean, I will say I'm not going to blame the ref, but that foul call on Yoshida disallowing Pencil's goal was a shit call. Like, come on, that was not a fucking foul. I don't know how that was called a foul. That was dumb, but I mean, the players were so shit, I can't even give them a pass. They were just so fucking bad, and they put in no energy into that game. I'm not in the mood to do that, but I just want to say that was not a foul at all.
Yeah, I will say that was not very. Yeah, that was very. But again, like I said, I thought Ricky Puig's foul was a little bit soft in my opinion. To me, at least, I felt like it was. But again, still though, you can't look at the refs. You can't look at anything else but the players. It's like, you had the job and you didn't do it. So it's a shame for sure. But anyways, I guess we'll just move on. I don't think we really had much Galaxy news since the time we made the last episode. I don't know if we have any Ventura County updates. I know they're starting their playoffs, right? Or unless they already played.
Today, yeah.
Do
they play today.
Oh, they play today. Oh, so there you go. Well, at least as we're recording, they play today. So, we'll find out whenever this episode releases. You'll find out once they, once the result is, and maybe I'll put it right here, like on the podcast, whatever. But still, though, good luck to Ventura County. Hopefully they do good, and hopefully they don't do what the first team did last night on decision day. But
won't take much effort to surpass that.
Yeah, definitely for sure. But anyways, yeah, not much Galaxy news or Ventura County updates. But so I guess we'll talk about our preview for the playoffs then. So obviously, since we dropped the ball, we're in second. We're going to go up against the Colorado Rapids in a 3-game series, or if it goes to that length. So, and like I mentioned, this Saturday, October 26th at 8 p.m. is game 1 of the 3-game series against Colorado at home. So we still got home field advantage, of course. We're still going to have, some home games for us, depending how far we go and things like that. But, we go up against Colorado. Last time we played Colorado, of course, we won over there in Colorado. But obviously playoffs now is a different thing. Anything could happen. Anybody can turn on the switch. Some of these lower seeds can probably make a run, and some of the first, the top people could drop down. Anything could happen, right? That's just the nature of playoffs. Anything could happen. But yeah, we have Colorado this weekend to start off the series. How do you feel? Playing against Colorado at home. What are your thoughts about that? And I guess after this loss, how do the Galaxy kind of approach this game?
So I guess I just will say, there's absolutely nothing positive from Decision Day, but if you want to grasp at straws and pick something, I will say, our bracket to get to the conference final, I think, is a lot better for us, or more favorable matches for us than if we were the 1 seed, because we'd have to play Portland or Vancouver, and I have a strong feeling Portland's going to win because they're at home and they have some really good offensive players. So, let's say we played Portland, that would be really tough with Evander and Rodriguez and Mora and Moreno. And then you have to go to Providence Park for game 2. I think it's a tougher matchup. So in a sense, I think it's really good that, I think Colorado's a decent team, honestly, but I don't think they have the star power Portland does. If they possibly get through it, even Vancouver, they have some good players like Gaud, Kubas, and White, too. It's I don't know, compared to going to Dick's Sporting Goods Park to Providence Park, I think is good. And let's say you made it out of round 1, this is hypothetical. You get Salt Lake or Minnesota in the second round, and if we were the 1 seed, we would get the Sounders. We talked about before, we do not want the Sounders at all. That would be very hard for us. We saw in the Leagues Cup how bad of a matchup that was. Or you would have gotten Houston, too, who just beat you and probably have a huge mental edge over you right now. So I think in terms of matchups, we're second, it sucks. Our rivals are first. We might have to go away for the conference final. But to get to the conference final, I do feel okay, there might be some better matchups in front of us. I don't know what you think about that, but I do kind of favor these matchups a little bit more, at least at first hand.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you look at paper, it's, you can say it is much more favorable matchups. I will say, though, I think environment-wise, it is still very difficult because you're going to have to go to, well, actually, no. I guess it's really only for round 1 because you're going to Colorado away. That's your only away game if you go to. Because if you face RSL, it's at Dignity Health Sports Park. If you face Minnesota, it's at Dignity Health Sports Park. So I guess maybe environment-wise, it's not really an issue, but because I was going to say, if you did have to go to RSL or Minnesota, it's that's a bigger issue, but you don't, so that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, obviously Colorado, going into this one, yeah, I mean, they don't really have the star power like a Portland, which by the way, I think my hot take for the playoffs is that Portland could make a run in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if
I would
they do.
them to knock off LAFC so we could host till MLS Cup. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice, but but for real though, for Portland, I feel like they could make a run, and Portland's always been that team that they could make a run no matter what. All they need is just a ticket to the dance, and they could do whatever they want.
Get a couple girls in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Get a couple girls in there, get some dancings, and do what you need to do, right?
There you go. They can pull, yeah.
But I mean, in terms of the Galaxy, and I guess in terms of Colorado, it's again, we talked about it. It's very hard to it's a tough pill to swallow with what we witnessed in Houston, but now the team has to get over it. They have a week to prepare. They're going to be home where they've been successful all year. They haven't lost a game there. They've beaten Colorado at home before this season. And again, I know that, in a sense it's irrelevant because it's playoffs, but still though, you're going to be behind your people. You're going to be with your fans. And hopefully with what happened with Houston motivates you and turns up a switch. Hopefully. Because again, with Greg Vanney said, and I'm going to keep repeating myself with that, it's the next mistake you make could be the last one. I think we got to win at home for sure. You can't lose going into Colorado because then that's going to be much more difficult with the altitude, with everything, and you're going to have to play much harder for that game, and that's tough. So I think for me, it's again, try to get game 1 going, get the results you need, win that game. And whatever happens after that, we'll obviously talk about because we're only talking about game 1. But just from a longer perspective, it's win this game and then, you handle everything else after that. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Colorado, again, it's going to be a difficult matchup, man. It's the playoffs. So I don't know, man. It's just very difficult. But but still though, we gotta look past us and try to get a win. And that's what we got to do. And if we want to win MLS Cup, we got to win games. So that's all we got to do.
I mean, yeah, Colorado is playing really bad right now. I think they've lost 4 of their last 5 games. Obviously, one of those were to us, 3-1 in their home. So they're playing really bad right now. They also sold Moise Bombito in the middle of the season, who's a European caliber center back. So he was a big part of their success. He's not on the team anymore. I don't know. I just feel like at home, like we have to win game 1. Honestly, if we go down 1-0, like in the series going back to Colorado, it's like, oh boy. I mean, it's gonna get pretty bad possibly. So we got to win game 1 for sure. Peck and Pooch definitely need to bounce back. I'm expecting a whole lot better from them. If Royce is not fit, I don't want to see him on the field just because he's a name. Like, I want to see Delgado out there if he's more ready to go. Pencil needs to show up. He played well versus Colorado last time, so it's like, if he replicate that, I mean, Joveljic need to do something, dude. It's like, you can't just disappear like that again. Defense needs to stay solid. Yoshida needs to bounce back. It's like, at home, we definitely got to win. We got to win this game at home. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough mental block to get over. Like, for me, too. I mean, for the players, definitely, you wanted that first seed, but I don't know, man. I mean, we got to take care of business at home. We got to show up. We got to play better. So far, honestly, I will say this season, the Galaxy have been kind of disappointing in sort of big moments. Like, I put it in my caption, the Rose Bowl game, we were shit. The Leagues Cup after the group stage, one and then done, we were shit. Decision day, chance to clinch first, we were shit. It's like, guys, like, I'm challenging you in the locker room if I'm the coach. Are you ready? Like, are you ready right now? Because I'm seeing a team that's not ready. I list those 3 things off in those big games. It's like, that's not good enough. That's not going to win you a championship. That's not going to win you a playoff series, as a matter of fact. So, are you ready, guys? Are you ready to show up? Or are we just going to go out sorry like we did on decision day? I mean, you guys are on the field. It's got to be on you guys at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's all on them. And again, it's like, and again, we've seen aspects of a championship team like throughout the season, but now it's like, all right, like you mentioned, are you ready? Can you show those abilities? Can you show those, what you did in some of those things in the season to this season? There's some things that we didn't do in the season, like you mentioned, like in those big moments. So it's like, now this is the big test. Now this is where every game matters, every game counts. And again, it's all on the players, it's all on the coaching staff, it's all on everybody that's on that field on Saturday. And yeah, we got to go win at that one. Like you mentioned, we can't be down going into Colorado. That's going to make it much more complicated for the team. So yeah, gotta go into this game with the right mindset, not with what you went with Houston. And you gotta give it your all. Now it's now or never at this point, because they say in sports, like when it comes to like going for a championship, it's very hard to do it, right? This might be your only opportunity to do it. You never know what happens next season. You never know what happens in a few seasons here or later. It's like different things could happen over time. So it's like, it's now or never. Now we got to go in here. You have an opportunity. Let's go take it one game at a time, and hopefully we hope for the best. But it starts with Colorado at home this week. So you gotta put in the work for that one. Yeah. But anyways, do you have any other thoughts about the Colorado? Anything about the playoffs in general? Like, how you feel about the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, the playoffs are all about star players. Honestly, your star players need to show up. They need to deliver for you. So Ricky Pooch, Peck, Joveljic, Painsil, Royce, whoever you want to list. It's like, now's the money time right here. Now is when we need. You guys have had good seasons, a lot of you guys. A lot of goal contributions, a lot of really good moments, a lot of memories made, a lot of excitements. But right now is where it really counts. So it's like, we need the very best out of all of you guys right now in order to be the best version of ourselves we can be.
Yeah, definitely. The best versions of yourselves that is needed for these times, right? So definitely, for sure. But yeah, like I mentioned, Colorado this week on Saturday. Game 1 is at 8 p.m. For you, it's at 10. That's gonna be a late game for you to watch, but you're still gonna be up for it. So that's a good thing. Yeah. But yeah, 8 p.m. on Saturday, October 26th. Obviously, if you're gonna be there, I understand the result was disappointing, but now the team needs our support more than ever, right? So it's like, now we got to go out there and show out, as fans as well, whether you're at home, whether you're at the stadium, at a bar, watching the game, whatever the case may be. That's where the team really needs your support, right? So, yeah, so it really does take all of us for this, for the playoffs and for this season. So, yeah, I mean, so hopefully, we all show out, for that game, but, yeah, going to be a tough one for sure. But any other final thoughts you want to say about the Galaxy? Anything else?
Oh, we gotta show up. That's it. That's the end of the line. We gotta show up.
Yeah, yes, sir. We got to show up. So yeah, of course, I think that'll do it for this episode. Follow us on social media. Follow me at Insider Galaxy on Instagram, on X. Go follow the Galaxy Central on Instagram. Anything else you want to say to the followers or the listeners before we go?
That'll do it for me.
All right, for sure. Let's move it on out. Be a friend, tell a friend about the podcast, whenever you're listening to this podcast. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day, rest of your night. And yeah, playoffs is here. Let's go show out. Thank you guys. And Jesus.
7 words.